Are you there?
Yeah, I thought you said not to fight Dasan alone.
I didn't have a choice. I never even felt him coming. He's escaped onto a ship.
I know. I'm on it.
We need to destroy the ship before Dasan and his army reaches its target, whatever it is. Try to find the ship's communication center and use its sensor array to contact Rogue Squadron. I'll keep trying.
Luke!
Force you.
What was that last message? Was he saying, "May the Force be with you"? I don't know.
Why did you say Rogue Squadron like that? Rogue Squadron.
Yeah, it sounds like something like for casuals, you know, like the way they phrased it.
Yeah, too much emphasis.
Right. Although I do appreciate little things like Rogue Squadron popping up here and there in games, because you know, you and I, we read the X-Wing books around a few years before, so it was like, oh, that's cool.
I don't mind them showing up. I like when they show up. I just don't know why Luke said it like that.
Right. I remember in the Crimson Empire comic, Rogue Squadron and Wedge showed up, and they were flying like, I probably even mentioned this in another video, but they were flying like E-Wings and B-Wings, and I remember there was a letter in the back of one of the comics like, why did you guys do that? They fly X-Wings. Like, someone was pissed. But, you know, I could see both sides of it, because it's just like, you know, give them the latest fighters. They don't always have to fly the same thing over and over.
Well, if the sequel trilogy is any indication, then everybody just they're stuck in a new technology, new paint jobs. Although it is rather iconic, the X-Wing with Rogue Squadron. So I but
get
they could
that
have
side of it too.
They could have, you know, iterated on it versus just painting him black or whatever. They could have made him a little bit.
Well,
more sleek
I mean the Crimson Empire comic.
I get you.
They could have kept him X-Wing just to. That way, you just see him and you know. Seems like in every Dark Forces game, the turrets are hugely annoying.
Yep.
And that's no different in, I can't remember if they're in Fallen Order, but in Survivor, they're hugely annoying.
I don't think... No, I don't think there was any turrets in Fallen Order.
That's what I was thinking. I don't recall any, but yeah, Survivor has them, and they are pain in the fucking ass.
The main annoyance is the stormtroopers that have the like shield. On their gun.
The scout troopers with the shield.
Yeah,
like the riot trooper or whatever they are.
Yeah,
I do appreciate that. I mean, you know, it's kind of like de rigueur now to see like a new stormtrooper in every movie and game and series and everything. But like, I do like that in Fallen Order and these other games that they do have these, you know, troopers that are slight variations, you know, on scout troopers and purge troopers.
No,
and
it's
all
good
that.
because that's
Cool.
that's kind of the issue with the whole X-Wing TIE Fighter thing in the sequels is that JJ in particular relied too heavily on nostalgia and sticking close to what's familiar versus like iterating and pushing forward. Lucas, you know, every movie there'd be snow troopers, scout troopers, forest troopers, sand troopers. There's all sorts of different troopers.
Yeah,
sand troopers are just dirty stormtroopers.
They are. I noticed that when I was a kid. Even I was like, they are filthy. They got their shoulder pad and the backpack, and they're like caked on with the sand.
Yeah.
I actually, the Sand Troopers are still, as far as like OG movie stormtroopers, that's still my favorite. I love the shoulder pad and the backpack with the big like blaster carbine or whatever they're holding.
Yeah.
It just looks cool.
Yeah.
Plus the classic voice of Terrence McGovern doing the voice on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's still the coolest stormtrooper voice. Oh, here's a little bit of trivia that just randomly popping in my head because I was, I've been going through my old Star Wars Insider magazines, reading articles I haven't read in decades, and the actor that played the stormtrooper that says we don't need to see their identification in Mos Eisley, that actor in the suit is the same actor who played Fixer, Luke's friend in the deleted Biggs scene
really?
in Anchorhead. Yeah.
Oh.
And there's even a shot of him without the helmet, like between takes, and it's like, oh yeah, that is him.
Tripping balls now.
Get pumped up full of interrogation
Juice.
drugs.
Okay, I think I read an expanded story about Leia's interrogation at some point.
Well, the radio drama. That's the real.
I wasn't talking about the.
Oh,
radio
you weren't referring to that. Oh, yes.
But yeah, the radio drama.
Oh, yeah, the radio drama. Yeah, that's what we were talking about. Not that other fan fiction smut. But yeah, actually, seriously though, the radio drama, that scene is really, really difficult to listen to. I mean, it's dark.
Yeah.
When Vader's questioning her and everything.
So the Doomgiver is like a carrier vessel, but it's just like listed as another Star Destroyer variation.
Yeah, it has that look, and in fact, it's very similar to the way there was a Star Destroyer in the old Marvel comics from the late 70s. Looks very similar. See, that's another thing, just like Stormtroopers, you could go down the rabbit hole of all the Star Destroyer variations.
Oh, I know. I mean, it kind of makes sense depending on how long. I mean, Imperial Navy had, what, at the height, it had like 10,000 Star Destroyers or something like that.
It might have been, you know what? It might have been 25,000, if I recall.
Yeah, I seem to recall it being.
It was a lot.
The tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And
I think it was 25,000, and then they were patrolling. I think the Empire at its height, I think, was 100,000 systems. Something like that. It might have been 250,000, but it was. There was supposed to be, if you read the Imperial source book and the whole ranking of how they deploy the Empire per sector, it's supposed to be one Star Destroyer patrols a sector, and each sector is approximately 50 or so planets, some more, some less.
Right.
But yeah, that would make sense, because then it's like you got 50 planets. If the Star Destroyer shows up, like shit's about to go down on your planet. You're like,
well,
oh, fuck.
it also makes sense why they'd want to make a Death Star, because you just have that. Hey, we can park
in
this
existence
moon over here, and you're
right.
toast.
The fear of force,
right.
as Tarkin said.
But so if they had like tens of thousands of Star Destroyers, they obviously can be made fast enough to where it's not a issue of like everyone can kind of be unique based on like the length of time it takes to make it, but also the need of that particular ship at that particular time. But
what ties into what you just said perfectly, and this is something I only read, I think, in the last few years. I think it might have been in the Essential Guide to Warfare from like 2012 or whatever, but I think it was Daniel Wallace, the co-author. He, there's Han's line in A New Hope where he's like, outrun Imperial ships, the big Corellian ones.
Yes.
Daniel Wallace, he made it clear in that book that it was Star Destroyers that Han was referring to, but he was saying the Corellian-made ones at those shipyards have stronger engines. And I was like, yeah, that is cool. Finally, that line finally truly makes sense to me.
Right. Yeah, I remember that.
Because it did, confused me for a number of years. Like, what does Han mean exactly?
Right.
Because it's like, Corellian Engineering Corporation itself doesn't make the Star Destroyers, but, it could make the engines for the, Kuat Drive yards or whatever.
Right.
Headless R2. Oh. These scenes are rather cool with the controlling the droids.
Yeah, it's just the Doomgiver levels gets really dull.
Very maze-like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how I felt too when I played it.
The Force lightning is way too weak in this game.
This game, yeah. I need to do a playthrough where I use it more. Some people swear by it if you just keep upgrading it, but I don't know. I never used
But you
it
don't.
much.
It's not like Jedi Knight where you like,
Oh, is that the one where you just like destroy everybody?
Well, because you can.
Maybe it's Jedi Knight.
Because you can go dark and then invest points into it.
Oh, that's true.
But in this, you just kind of get what you get as you progress in the levels and stuff. So
Kyle's been training with Vergere, clearly.
Right, yeah.
That's the gray side of the Force.
What is that planet? Xenoma Seacot or whatever?
Right. From Rogue Planet and Trader, I think, right?
Yeah, sure. I don't remember. Rogue Planet was the one with Obi-Wan and Anakin.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That was the prequel. I remember when that came out and it was like, oh, this ties into the new Jedi Order, and they were kind of like, they were a little, I seem to recall them being a little ambiguous on how it tied in.
They were because I think
other
the
than
new Jedi
Vegeta,
Order,
Vegeta,
right.
So it wasn't apparent that like the planet would. I mean, maybe once you actually read the book, you'd kind of hint at it, but because of the whole living ship type thing.
Right.
But
I guess I'll find out when I read Rogue Planet and the new Jedi Order.
Yeah, I'm not gonna hold my breath.
Instead of just capsules. I mean, at least I know the basic outline and the scenarios and stuff.
They were good. It was a good series.
One thing I do remember, even though I didn't actually read Rogue Planet, but what I do remember just from talking to fans at the old forums and stuff was that in the book, Obi-Wan is using Qui-Gon's old lightsaber, his green one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I guess when Attack of the Clones came out, he obviously built a new blue one by that point. And there was actually people, especially people that hated the books and comics in the EU, they're like, they said it was supposed to be green. Attack of the Clones contradicted Rogue Planet. You guys are stupid. And it was like, dude, Rogue Planet is set like 8 years before Attack of the Clones. You telling me that Obi-Wan didn't build, a new lightsaber across 8 years? It's one of those dumb little things that like fans pull out of their ass to
complain
make
about,
themselves feel good and complain and but I mean, there's valid things you could say, but that one, I remember even at the time, that one was like, good lord, you are fucking lame, dude.
Well, and even it's funny because in Attack of the Clones they established that lightsabers, yeah, they're like really personal and important and all that stuff, but they get lost and they get damaged and they just make new ones. Like,
Exactly. I think some people might have had this impression that it's like the whole prequel trilogy, they're all supposed to just have the one lightsaber.
but how do they reconcile that Obi-Wan wouldn't still be using Qui-Gon's lightsaber in A New Hope?
Right. Yeah, that doesn't make sense either. So I don't know, one of those stupid things.
Well, when I was a kid and I was into Hulk, I was collecting Hulk comic books and stuff, and I remember I actually wrote a letter to Marvel and asked a question about a particular thing that happened with the Abomination in a Hulk comic book. And as a kid, I didn't understand what was going on. Like, I was like, how could this be? How could the Abomination? I thought the Abomination was like melted by acid or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like reconstructed. I'm like, how does that work? And they're just like, the stranger things have happened. And then, like, I didn't get it as a kid, but as an adult, I'm like, yeah, it's a comic book. Like, of course he didn't die. It didn't show him die. He was burned by acid. So, he didn't melt into a puddle. It didn't show it. So there's explanations beyond what you see in the panel or read.
Exactly. Yeah, it's one of those things. I see what you mean. When I go back and flip through comics that I read as a kid, I can remember how I perceived certain things differently. Right.
So, it could be that those people that were nitpicking are perhaps, 9 or
Mentally
10-year-olds. Well, or that.
I think this was a guy in his 20s at the time. I think.
He's a 32-year-old greasy dude. Right now he's like 58 or something.
Right, exactly.
He's still hung up on it.
Well, I don't remember exactly who said it, but when I think about it, it reminds me, it was possibly this one guy that used to moderate the prequel forum. If anyone remembers the name Padme Bra, it might have been Padme Bra.
Wait, bra like how the kids nowadays say bra, or like brazier?
Like brazier. That was his name, was Padme Bra. Yeah, he was very well known because he was the main moderator of the prequel forum, the Phantom Menace forum, I should say. And I think that it was him and a few other guys who modded it, and this was like post Phantom Menace, pre Attack of the Clones. That was my primary time I was there at the Jedi Council. But yeah, I'll never forget his name. I mean, it's just burned in my memory. But I see that was the thing too. He was always poo-pooing the expanded universe. No matter what opportunity he got, his reactions were always like, George doesn't care. The books suck. They're crap. And people like what they like, but at the end of the day, it's funny. Like, I defend the movies against the people who only like the books, and then vice versa. I've always been kind of a pluralist with Star Wars. A little bit of everything.
I was until Disney started doing stuff, but
But now there's so much. It's like you could just kind of pick and choose your favorites among the deluge.
Yeah.
Watch Andor over and over on a repeat. It's on a loop.
Well, there was that newsletter, that Star Wars newsletter or whatever, back in the late 70s.
Bantha tracks.
Well, it was whatever that one where the people that made it didn't like The Empire Strikes Back.
Oh yeah, that I think that was a fanzine.
Yeah, it was a fanzine. Yeah. So, you can always distill further and further down
Oh yeah.
To where you get to the ultimate purist that
Oh, I
will
mean
only accept A New Hope and that's it.
I know I mentioned this before, whether on or off the podcast or whatever, but there was the Jedi Council forums. There was a guy named Binary Sunset, and he only liked A New Hope. And he hated The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi. He only liked A New Hope. And he was very, clear why he liked it, because it wasn't just because it was first, but it was the spirit of optimism that ran through that movie. You know, and that's why people do love A New Hope.
Right.
And I got it, but he would not accept The Empire Strikes Back even after 20-some years.
Yeah,
at the time.
And that's totally valid, because that's one of the reasons I don't dislike A New Hope. I love A New Hope, but
I love A New Hope. It's my second favorite.
It's kind of like a good example is Terminator. Terminator 1, Terminator 2. I prefer Terminator 1 because Terminator 2 is too, I don't know, je ne sais quoi. Like, it's too good.
Too good.
Which,
it's the aliens.
Exactly.
Of that.
Alien. Same thing with Aliens too. Like, it's something with
good.
Cameron. Something with Cameron and sequels. Like, it's too good. But maybe overplayed or too slick. Or when
I was a kid, I watched T2 a lot more. So it was kind of built up more in my head. Right. And then I remember I watched them backwards, actually. I saw T2 first, and then I saw Terminator. And I remember thinking, I was like, whoa, Terminator looks rough. It's got the stop motion T800, and it's a little grittier looking. The camera quality isn't as good. It's a much more dated soundtrack. Even though it's a good soundtrack, it's much more synth-wavy.
So beyond just like it being just good, like it's too good, is that it's kind of lighter, right? And so A New Hope, I wouldn't say that it's it's not as good, or like the quality.
It's a little rough around the edges.
It's rough like Terminator 1 or Alien.
But that's the charm. That's the charm. I love the fucking cantina because they were trying to squeeze every dollar they could and put a fucking Wolfman mask on a dude to try to make it work, that's the charm of it.
Yeah. So with A New Hope, though, for me, it's to me, it's one of the weaker ones just because it's too light.
It's very light. It's very comic
that
book.
optimism and stuff in it.
It's the most Flash Gordon of Star Wars movies,
which is fine. I mean, and that's why I say it's like a valid point, because like I'm the kind of the opposite. I gravitate more toward Empire and Return of the Jedi, and I'm sure a lot of people do because they're darker.
Yeah, but that's kind of how I am. But I still see the original trilogy really as just chapters. So because we had them on video as kids, so it's kind of like, it's just kind of like, it's just another chapter. You got the lighthearted chapter, you got the dark chapter, and then you got the cuddly Ewok chapter.
So I don't even remember what my point about all that was. I guess I can understand where people come from. And
I can too, but it's just, I don't think you shouldn't unnecessarily hate on something that is obviously loved by the majority. I think that says more about you than it would about the movie.
That's kind of the funny thing, right? Like the guy sitting there on the forums that only likes A New Hope and doesn't like the other stuff is kind of like, that whale that sings in an off key or whatever. I think the marine biologists have talked about it, where his song is like messed up, so then like they say he's like the loneliest whale because like he can't communicate with anybody, and it's like this guy.
Someone hit a golf ball in his blowhole.
and George wasn't around to remove it.
Right.
So that guy is like the loneliest whale. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
sure, everybody
Yeah.
does, loves A New Hope, but there's not a lot of people that only love A New Hope.
Well, I guess also the point I'm making is that, look, we all have our Star Wars favorites, and I love having obscure things as my favorite. Doesn't mean I need to put down the other stuff. Like, I love Moff Rebus. Do I think Moff Rebus is the coolest Moff of all Moffs in every media? No, but
No, it's obviously
you
Jar
know.
Jar.
Yeah, exactly. That's something you wouldn't hear too often. But it's the same way with characters. I love obscure Star Wars characters that are just, whatever. And I mean, even Kyle Katarn. Kyle has a significant fan base, and because he's Legends now, that adds another certain quality to it. But I would say even among Legends fans, though, he's kind of left of center. You'd find more, obviously, Mara Jade and Thrawn fans, or even Corrin would probably have more fans than Kyle Katarn.
Yeah,
Depending
probably.
on
No,
as far
yeah,
as
probably.
book people, just because Kyle isn't in very many literary works,
Yeah.
but certainly gamers gravitate to Kyle because he was kind of the main hero for a bunch of these.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, I had a whole. I actually came across the text file again, but I had a whole list that compared Kyle with Corrin and the similarities, and it was like they both like went to the Jedi Academy and then left. They both had a goatee or whatever. They both
somebody
it was like
there,
all these things.
like what was his name, Dorsk81. He's like, hey, you guys, you ever see Corrin and Kyle in this room at the same time?
Right. Yeah, I always thought it was such a missed opportunity that Corrin and Kyle didn't get like a short story of them going on a mission or something.
Yeah. What I want to know is who designed this fucking communications array
with no guardrails yet again.
How are you even supposed to get down there normally?
Yeah,
I know that guy comes in. He's like, Jesus fucking Christ!
Unless it was a security thing, and it's like you had to have a jetpack to do your job or something.
They fly down. Janitors fly down.
Yeah, right. Got Klieg Lars just like floating around fixing this stuff. He has to like hit the overdrive button on his repulsor chair so it'll get the distance.
They should have made. Oh, maybe not. I was gonna say they should have went back to the novelization of Star Wars for the prequels and made Owen Obi-Wan's brother. But
it would have been interesting.
It would have been problematic with how the Jedi collect their children and all that stuff, I guess.
Well, it's funny because like I think it was, one of the Jedi Apprentice books, Obi-Wan mentions a memory of his family.
Yeah.
Before he was taken, and he did remember a younger brother.
Yeah.
And he did remember his name was Owen.
Yeah.
Obviously that changed, but it nevertheless still exists as a memory.
Well,
so it's
I mean,
whether it's
it
Owen Lars or another
it could
Owen.
be. I mean, it really could be.
In my head canon is that he still is related to Owen, but that's just my head canon based on the old lore. Because he could be, Anakin's stepbrother and Obi-Wan's brother. Like, the Force works in mysterious ways, my friend.
Then it would have been more interesting if Rey was a Kenobi.
Yeah. Right. there'd be a lineage, going to Owen and then all that.
It'd be funny. It wouldn't really work with the timeline and everything, but like, if they have that small flashback in The Force Awakens, and then later, they have more. I guess if I remember correctly, they have more of a flashback in Rise of Skywalker, and
Yeah.
If it if it was Owen, like young Owen and young Beru, like giving up a kid or whatever for some reason,
Mm-hmm.
and then Rey was actually Obi-Wan's niece. She was a Lars.
Right.
Oh, and then she gets the homestead, right? So everything would come full circle. But it just wouldn't work in the timeline.
You're right, the timeline. Yeah, people were thinking things along those lines after The Force Awakens. Oh my god, this level, dude.
Yeah, it's
And
really
then you
bad,
got
dude.
those little icons on the computer. I don't know if they're the same or just similar to the ones. Dark Forces 1. There's like a level where you got to match up the icons, like kind of like a password to get through. This one's a lot more convoluted though. What I don't like is when I was doing this, I wasn't getting confirmation that what I was pressing was correct. Like games nowadays, especially like the current Jedi games, you do something like that in the correct order, and then your character will tell you, like, hey, BD, I think we're on the right track or whatever. Like, there's an audio cue to let you know you're doing it right.
I wish
no.
Cal, if you messed up, Cal would be like, I'm such an idiot, BD. I'm so stupid.
Start smacking his head over and over.
like some 6-year-old having a meltdown.
So stupid. Dang ferret. That would be more realistic to our universe.
Yeah.
Some child just taken from his home and forced to live with a bunch of monastic monks, suppressing your emotion, and then put through like the greatest trauma of your life with Order 66. You have all this fucking therapy you need, but you can't because you gotta hide everything.
You're on a ship full of dudes, and they're all the same, and then all of a sudden they want to kill you.
Right, exactly. It'd be terrifying.
Rogue Leader, this is Kyle Katarn.
Katarn, good to hear your voice. We've locked onto your signal and are in pursuit.
I'm wondering if this is Tycho in this scene talking.
It doesn't sound like somebody. It doesn't sound like a Wedge impersonation.
And I think if you look on the timeline of when Rogue Squadron, I think Tycho was Rogue Leader around this time. So
yeah.
Don't waste any time on my account.
Good luck, Kyle. Rogue Leader out.
the old Death Star blueprint.
Yeah.
All crew members prepare to drop out of hyperspace.
I'm in TIE Fighter now.
Yeah.
I'm getting a briefing. Fucking Y-Wings.
Y-Wings.
Come on, guys.
Come on. Who drew the short straw?
Yeah, I know, right? Like, hey, guys, don't we have B-Wings? Shut up. Get in the Y-Wing.
That's the thing. I played X-Wing so much in the 90s that to me, when I read about a Y-Wing or see one in a movie, I'm like, oh, someone is not enjoying flying that thing. Especially
every
taking out
appearance,
TIE fighters.
I remember in X-Wing, and then in Rogue Squadron 3D, they were terrible.
Oh yeah.
And then because you had to, the worst is that stupid volcano level.
Yeah,
I finally after 20 years I got gold on it.
That's right. I remember
But
actually visiting your old house, and I remember you were
attempting it.
Right.
And then even the Decipher CCG card game used to play, because you'd have ships and stuff, and like the Y-Wings were just terrible. So anyway, there you go.
Good times.
Level 18.
All right.